Yeah. Next thing, though.
Yeah.
Another big thing. New manager. We've got a new manager.
Of course. Mikey Shildt. You hurt your name with that last name.
Hurt puns incoming.
Yeah. Really interesting story. I was reading more about him. We touched upon him real quick in our first off-season podcast. But, now that it's official, I want to do a little bit more research. Really interesting that he never played professional baseball at any level. I
couldn't believe that when I heard it.
And I think we were even saying he played he was like a bench guy.
In college. Yeah, he was a subpar college player.
Guy. But I think it's almost kind of charming about him, though, is the first interview that he had with Don Orsillo, I think. They talked about that, and I think it's single digits as far as guys who have managed a big league team with zero professional experience, and so he's one of those guys. And I thought it was just really interesting because he was one of those guys who he said in the interview he was 100% content with his life when he was like, oh my God, I get to manage this single A team. Yeah. My life goal has been achieved.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
I'm good here. You just
and
leave
he
me here.
Was so happy and he loved it. And he just apparently is a really great kind of players coach, it sounds like. And he just
a servant of the organization.
Kept going, and he just kept going up because everybody loves him. Except for the Cardinals.
I'm going to piggyback on that, and I think there's something really nuanced about the dynamic, right? So whenever you've played pro ball, whenever you've done anything before and you're coaching or mentoring someone who's done it, you have this sense of, well, this is what I did to be successful.
Yeah.
Some people might say, you ought to do it too, or they're comparing and contrasting against each other, like Manny Machado would be like, well, I was better than you when you were a pro. Why would I listen to how you did it? Whatever it may be. And that's not how Manny talks. I'm not putting Manny in words. But a player can have that dynamic.
For sure.
Whereas this guy is so far removed from that. So far. He never even played pro. He's not trying to stand on anything and tell you, I did it this way. You better listen to me. It's very much a collaborative experience that he's describing. He's saying that he wants to go in there and his job is to hold people accountable. Yeah. That's what he's about. And he wants to make a plan.
Yep.
And he said, I have my non-negotiables. There are ways that we will play that need to be this way. But he also made a huge point in, I'm going to talk with these players, see what their goals are, see what they want to be held accountable on. We're going to do it together. And then it's my job to keep them on it, which is beautiful.
Yeah, very, very two-way street kind of thing, which I loved as a player. And that was my favorite, just the relationship that I had with my, I guess, favorite coaches was very two-way streety as well. And it was a very similar situation to what you just described, right? It's like, here's these are my rules, but I know that each player is unique and specific, and to have that trust factor that, you've been around the game for a long time, obviously to get to a college level, to get to a professional level, you know what you're doing to an extent, right?
There's some trust that should be inherently there. Yeah.
So you don't want to take that away, the individuality part, you know?
You want to hear a hot take?
What you got?
So as I was listening to that Don Orsillo Shildt interview, I think I might have caught on to something. So if you don't know, Shilt's been in the organization with us for the last 2 years. He knows the ins and outs. He knows what happened last year with any drama within that clubhouse, within the front office. And when he talked about creating these plans with the players, he goes, I'm going to be talking to the players and offering that they come to me and lay out this plan. And he goes, and I've got a pretty good feeling they're going to take me up on that. Meaning, potentially, with Bob Melvin, there wasn't as good of a back and forth between the players' ideas being heard by management and being implemented the way that they would like to have seen it. It might have been more of a one-way street because it sounded like Shildt had noticed that didn't exist and they wanted it.
Interesting.
So I could be reading into some very thin lines, but as someone who sits back and does a lot of reading of people, I think that's something. And it could be a very big positive.
Interesting.
And he's a big development guy. He's been around player development. He's been around our minor league guys, which is huge because they're going to be coming up, and he's going to usher them into the world of baseball at the highest level. And I like him more now that I've gotten to do more research on him. I still think that he will be Preller's guy as far as what Preller says goes, but hopefully it works. Who's to say it can't work?
Right.
And hopefully it's a match made in heaven, and And we're happy Padre fans winning lots of ball games this year and seeing some prospects come up and flourish.
Yeah. I think another
There's my bow.
another couple, I got a couple other cool notes here, but I saw an article was posted too that he's making his rounds to go meet individually in person with all the different, at least guys who are locked up for a long time. So actually, he was heading to go see Soto, but that might not happen anymore. But then he's flying out to see Tatis in Dominican Republic. Then he's heading to Aruba to go soak up the sun a little bit with Bogarts. And he's taking a cruise over to Korea. No, I made that last one up.
But how cool, right? Like, these are things that are lasting first impressions. Like, right. Could it be any better? What a great idea. No. And he's not the first one to do this.
No,
managers have done
I'm
this.
sure it's relatively...
But it doesn't change the fact that if you're the player, you don't appreciate it.
Sure. Yeah.
It's awesome.
But just a good way to start the relationship, right? And again, it's not even starting a relationship. Starting the new managerial relationship is how I'll put it there. Doesn't hurt.
You want a sidebar?
What's up?
There's something that every free agent signing a new manager has to do that I think is so silly. When they get announced and the new manager of the San Diego Padres, Shildt, they give him this jersey. Oh, yeah. And they have to button this jersey in one of their most nervous moments. And I'm just like, can we just not? Like, let him have it untucked or, like, just completely take that part out of it? Yeah. We don't need to see them button it.
30-second
I know for me, silence, my hands would be shaking, bro. Like, I've had trouble putting on buttons before a game with not a bunch of cameras and questions to answer. But, yeah, I've always seen that, and I just think it's hilarious.
That's good. That's funny. Other couple notes real quick. So he did manage with the Cardinals, as I mentioned before. He managed for 3.5 seasons with the Cardinals. He took over as interim manager when they got rid of Matheny, I think it was. 252 and 199 was his record.
Solid.
.559 winning record.
Solid.
His first full year, 2019, he got his club to the championship series, where they lost to Juan Soto and company. Funny enough,
when they won the World Series.
Yep. And then in 2020 and 2021, made wild card appearances, so at least made it to the playoffs. So
no stranger to the postseason.
Every single year where it was under his reign, they made playoff appearances.
And they said, "Get out of here."
And here's a couple other interesting ones too, right? Yeah, they did say "get out of here," which who knows? Apparently, there's philosophical differences, and it's like on his side, he's like, "What? Do you not want to play in the postseason?" Or
the other part too is like he spent so much time in that organization. Like, what could it have been? Crazy. Anyways,
I guess they liked how Marmol ran the team last year. I guess so they like it.
Yikes.
Okay, I'm not getting into that one.
Shots
Anyways, that's besides the point. We're a Padres podcast. So here's some interesting stuff. So his philosophies, as far as what the internet says, is that he focuses a lot on defense and base running, which have been like two metrics apparently that they say does play a big factor on winning games, right? And so get this, he took the team that was, it looks like they were previously, what was it, like ranked 29th in defense before he got there. And they got them to the best defense, including like more Gold Gloves than like any team under one manager in, I think, history, which is pretty insane.
Because if I thought about one thing the Padres sucked at, it was defense and base running.
Guess what? Wait, he's been here for 2 years.
Yeah, maybe he has a place.
Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just saying.
Hey, I'm about defense.
That's
and
what
base running.
He's all about. So I'm sure when you were talking about like what are his non-negotiables, I'm just saying that could possibly be the things he focuses on.
I think accountability and fundamentals goes a long way in pushing across a run and extra innings. So maybe that will also help, you know?
No, it's true. So anyways, interesting. I think, it was the right pick. Interesting to see how he fills out the rest of the coaching staff, I think.
Yeah. Because Bob
Novella
took
stayed
everybody.
Around. They had apparently I was reading they had like 3 different guys in charge of hitting, including Flaherty, who walked on being bench coach and now is the bench coach of the Cubs. Take that for what it is. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We need like a third base coach. We need potentially a main hitting coach and a bench coach. So we'll see who he brings in.
I'm going to say this one more time. This is exciting. Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I mean, after a year of such disappointment, we're getting a completely new product on the field. We don't know if it's going to be better or worse.
Yep.
I hope better.
Yeah.
But like, oh my gosh. as someone who loves new things, me, it's as new as it gets.